everyone. This is the Jeff Cowan coming to you from thejeffcowan.com, and I just want to welcome you back to my podcast called Success in Professional Sales and Success in Life in General. Again, welcome back. I love it when you come and listen because you have discovered by listening to my podcast that I'm giving you real techniques, real processes, real word tracks, real closes, real techniques in selling that are going to help you maximize the opportunity you now have in your sales profession. You're also going to find by listening to this that if you're thinking about getting into the sales profession, that I am giving you the most honest assessment of what this profession is really like. So welcome back. I've got a great message with you for you here today. And by the way, you'll notice I said this is the Jeff Cowan from thejeffcowan.com. Just got to do a quick ad here. You know, if you've not been to thejeffcowan.com yet, you got to go there. Some really cool things going on there. As a matter of fact, one of the questions I get all the time is, how can I get where's the easiest place to get your podcast? Go to thejeffcowan.com. They're all listed there. You can watch them over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And of course, you can get them on apple.com and all those places as well. But today, like I said, I've got a great podcast for you, and I think it's very timely. I think it's very timely based on some things that have happened in my life, and even more so here recently. And with it being Valentine's Day, let me kind of set up this way. And by the way, a happy Valentine's Day. It's actually tomorrow, but happy Valentine's Day. I hope that you and your special significant other have a great day, evening, night, and whatever else. All right? Now, speaking of Valentine's Day, though, you know, I was a guy throughout my life that I didn't really date a lot because I never really had a lot of time. And so if I was going to ask somebody out, it had to be somebody that I really liked. Somebody that I really thought that there might be a future with. Now, as serious as that may sound, that's kind of the way I approached it again because I just didn't have a lot of time. And I noticed that dating for me never really went very well. And looking back, especially now when I compare it to the marriage that I'm in, I realized that the reason that I didn't do so well when I was dating is because I tried to rush things because of a lack of time. I tried to rush things through excitement. I tried to rush things because I wanted to be with this person all the time. And so what I found myself doing is that when I was going through the steps of dating and going through the steps of romance and the relationship and stuff, I was just going through the steps and trying to push them as fast as I could so I could get to the end result. And by pushing through and not really giving it enough time to develop on its own and paying attention, many times the relationship fell apart. But I remember looking back, you know, I'm in a marriage right now that I really love my wife. Her name is Candy, and by the way, when people see us together, they always ask me, why do you call her Candy? Well, you know, it's the day before Thanksgiving, so I don't mind being a little bit corny here, but it's the fact, you know, it's because whenever I see her, it's like eye candy to me. It really is. I mean, she's just a beautiful woman. She's like eye candy to me. I call her Candy because when I listen to what she says, every word that she comes out is like sweetness and candy to my ear. You know, that's why I like to call her Candy. But the biggest reason I call her Candy is because, quite simply, that's her name. So, but this relationship I had with her was textbook perfect, you know, and I'm not trying to make this sound clinical because when you're romance, you don't want to make it sound that way, and I don't make it sound like it was just a sell and I was out to close a deal. I mean, it was really a Class A romance, and I think the reason it was is because I learned that I didn't rush anything. Instead of just going through the steps as fast as I could to get to the end, what I did is I stopped at each step and I enjoyed each step. For example, instead of just calling her out initially when I called her up and asked her to go out on a date and then get off the phone as quick as I could, I spent a lot of time with her on the phone, getting to know her, getting to see what she was like so she could get to see what I was like and stuff. So when we got to the next step, the actual date, we were much more comfortable and there was less nerves and we were already having fun. And then which even made it better because then when we got to where we were going on that date, you know, it made it more easy there. I learned to stop at each step in the romance and enjoy each step because by doing so, I learned more, and the more I learned and the more that she learned, the more we learned that we were a perfect fit. I really believe to this day, had I rushed through this romance, it would have ended like so many others did that I was involved in with nothing just after a couple of dates. Now to bring this around to selling, what am I talking about? Well, a very similar thing just happened to me and Candy when we were out looking for furniture recently. We decided that we wanted some furniture for our family room. You know, we've had the same furniture now for nearly a decade. It was starting to get a little bit worn out. It wasn't starting, it was getting worn, it was worn out, and we wanted to replace it. So we go to a local furniture store, and I could tell from the moment I met the salesperson that greeted us that he was more interested in the steps to the road, on the road to the sale, than he was the stops. Now, what do I mean? So many times, you start a new job and they give you the road to the sale. And the road to the sale always includes a number of steps. And the number of steps is dependent on the product you have that usually dictates the number. So you might have one product and there's 6 steps, another one might have 10, another one might have 20. And what happens is they train us really hard on it. They want us to internalize it. They want us to memorize it. And they pound in your head that if you miss a step, you're going to miss the sale. So many times we get in front of a real client with our product and we rush these steps. We're more concerned about hitting the step than taking time and stopping on the road to the sale at each one of these steps and learning and gathering and getting the information we need to get us to the end of the road and the ultimate success, which is to close the sale. This guy was a classic case of what I was talking about. You could almost sense that he was more concerned with hitting the steps than he was the stops, because he walked up, he greeted us, he got our names, asked us what we were there for, asked us how many rooms we were going to be trying to furnish, which room was it, did we have a budget, and all of that stuff. So he hit his steps, but what he missed is he forgot to stop and gather and listen to and get the information. How do I know that? Because immediately when we walked away from the point where he greeted us and did his initial steps, he constantly asked us the same questions over. Mr. and Mrs. Cowan, or he said, I'm sorry, sir, but a few seconds ago when you introduced yourself, I don't think I caught your name. What was it again? Okay, and then so we give him his name again. We take a few more steps, and you said, if I remember right, you're looking to replace furniture in the living room or the family room. Is that right? Yeah, we're going to go to the family room. Now this is just a few minutes later, and then after a couple more steps and a little bit more small talk, he says, now remind me again, in the family room, what was your budget again? So I know which part of the showroom to take you to, and then a couple more steps along. I hate to ask you this, but what styles were you looking at? Because we have literally 10 different styles we can put in that family room. So what had happened was he hit each one of the steps because it had been drilled into his head, and he knew that he had to hit each step, but he was more concerned about hitting the steps than taking and stopping at each step, gathering the information that was going to help him get him down the road to getting the sale and ultimately closing the deal with us and helping us furnish that family room. Okay, so what I'm saying here is I'm not so interested when I'm on the road to the sale in the steps on the road to the sale. I'm more interested on the stops in the road to the sale, stopping and gathering the information. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to go into a little bit more description of what I'm talking about here so it'll all make more sense. But before I do that, I've got to tell you about this book. It's called Write Service and Write Your Own Paycheck. Now I've been talking about it now for a few weeks, and a couple of you, as a matter of fact, quite a few of you have called up or emailed and said, hey look, I went to Amazon.com and they said they're sold out. Well, you know what? Problem solved. I called them right before I started recording this. They have hard copies, they have paperbacks. It's there and it's ready to go. Or you can go to thejeffcowan.com, thejeffcowan.com, and you can get the book there. We've got replenished here as well. We've got, as a matter of fact, I looked there because I'm looking at cases of these books. I've ordered tons more of them because they're just selling like hotcakes. And the like. So why would you want to get this book? Well, like I've said many times in the podcast, if you're listening to this because you are working with a product that you love selling the services that you sell, and all you're trying to do is become the best you can be, don't change. Stay there. Be happy, okay? But if you're in a career and you say, you know what, I think it may be time to change products for whatever reason, this book would introduce you to a new career that might really interest you. If you're listening to this because you're considering getting into the sales profession and you're not sure what it is and you're just trying to discover what it's like, this book could lead you down a path to a profession where you can make $100,000 a year without a college degree. So thejeffcowan.com, amazon.com, paperback, hardcover. You can even get it for a Kindle reader if you want to get it that way. Get the book. And here's what's even more killer about it. I also have a companion video program that goes with it with over 10 hours of techniques and processes that are much more detailed, show you how to make $100,000 a year. So again, as I've been saying here, what we're interested in is more of the stop along the sale. I'm not interested in the steps on the road to the sale. I'm more interested in the stops. Why? Because when I stop, I listen, I make eye contact, I engage, and I write things down, and I learn who it is that I'm talking to, and I learn what it is they really want. Okay? So what's the best way to make that happen? Well, first is slow down. All right? Slow down, and if you're that concerned about missing a step, then do this. Write this down. Do this. Simply write down your steps. Carry around a clipboard. If you have an iPad, put it on your iPad. Because here's what's cool about this. If you can just glance down at your clipboard, you can just glance down at your iPad, and the steps are there. You don't have to worry about for getting a step, okay? So you can do, and I've done that my entire career. I still do that, okay? Because they're not going to see what you have written down. They're not going to see what you're reading. For all they know, you're looking at the inventory. You're looking at what's going on. And by the way, with step number 2, okay, remember that even if you miss a step, you can always go back and get it because your customer doesn't have the script. Okay? They don't have the script. They don't know if you miss a step. They're more interested in stopping at each step and giving you the information you need to help them solve their concerns that they came in for, whether it's furniture or service or something else. Now, the third part of this is, the third step is, the reason they won't care if you write it, if you're carrying around a clipboard, the reason they won't care if you're looking down at an iPad and read this off of this is because you're going to take notes and write down things as they talk, okay? And when you're doing that, they think that's what you're doing. So let me just go over some what are common steps into getting to sell, and let's turn them into stops. For example, the greeting. Think of nothing else when you're greeting the customer. Don't think about what they're there for. Don't think about their budget. Don't think about your inventory. Don't think about anything. Think about greeting that customer and nothing else. Take time. Hear their name. Write it down. Repeat it. When you move on from that into the discovery process where you're trying to discover and uncover what it is they're looking for, right? Your qualification questions, if you want to call them that. Slow down. Stop. Stop at this point and ask, really, what are they saying? How are they saying it? Does there need do there need to be follow-up questions to some of your standard questions in this step or stop? Okay, and most of the time there is. Mr. and Mrs. Cowan, when you say you're looking for a new sectional for your family room, describe to me what a sectional is, because that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Is a sectional to you just 2 pieces? Is it 3 pieces? Is it 4 pieces? Is it more than that? Are you looking more for of a pit? Describe sectional to me. Instead of just saying sectional, and now we're maybe looking at 15 different things we could be looking at, by asking those follow-up questions, it does a couple of things. Number 1, it narrows down the things he can show me, and number 2, it makes it sound like he's really trying to help me out. When you move on to the next thing, where you're reassuring them, make sure that when you're reassuring them that they're in the right place, talking to the right person that has the product or service they need, that you're looking in the eye, and you're being as confident as you can. When you move on to the next step, which may be to build rapport, just build rapport. Don't worry about the product. Don't worry about your inventory. Don't worry about their budget. Don't worry about any of that stuff. As you're building rapport, just listen to them. Listen to what they've got to say. Listen to their stories. Okay, and you'll learn what's important to them. You'll learn more, by the way. You could learn more by building rapport and just focusing on that, about who they really are and what they really want and how much money they really have if you build rapport. And we'll talk about that on another podcast. The next thing after you build rapport, you finally get to your product or service. It might be the presentation. Stop. Again, don't worry about the step. Stop. Take time. Present. And as you're presenting to them, slow down, ask questions, look at them in the eye, look at their facial expressions, watch their body language. Just don't make a presentation as fast as you can so you can get to the next step or the next piece of whatever it is, next piece of your product. Stop, okay, and enjoy the step. And when it comes to closing, make sure when you ask the questions, again, you have plenty of eye contact, you're taking your time, don't worry about objections they may or may not have, just ask for the money and shut up. Again, stop. And most importantly, because this is where I find where a lot of sales are missed, okay, is when they object, really listen. Don't just hit the step because you got to handle the objection and start spitting out a bunch of things. Stop. Listen to what their objection is. And ask yourself as you're listening to it, is this really an objection that they're giving, or are they really asking a question? For example, many times I hear people after they've made a presentation, the salesperson looks at the customer and says, "So, what do you think?" And the customer says something as simple as, "Wow, I had no idea it'd be that much money. I had no idea when I came in looking for something like this that it was going to require that much of my budget." Now, many salespeople take a comment like that and they assume that what the customer is saying is, "I don't have money, this is too expensive, I need a discount, we got to negotiate," and that stuff. But when I hear something like that, what it tells me, a professional salesperson, because I stop at each step and I really listen, I don't look at it as an objection as much as I do a question. You know, I hear them saying, "Give me more reasons. I like this. I've been talking to you now for the last 15 minutes, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So I'm obviously interested, but give me more reasons. Give me more value. Give me more benefits to want to give you more money than I thought it was going to take." But you can't hear that if you don't stop. So today's message is just simply that. When you're on the road to the sale, most of the time these roads are going to have steps. Don't be so concerned about hitting the steps. Don't be so concerned about just merely getting through the steps. I don't care about the steps in the road to the sale. What I care about are the stops, because on the stops on the road to the sale is where I learn who my customer is. I learn what they really want. I learn how they're going to use the product. I gather information that's going to help me make a better presentation, use the right closes, and handle the objections or answer their questions the right way. Again, don't be focused on the steps in your road to the sale. Be focused on the stops. Slow down, take your time. Hey, my name's Jeff Cowan, and I'm coming to you from thejeffcowan.com. I really appreciate you coming back. Tell your friends about this, and subscribe to these different channels, whatever channels you're watching, and rate me. Give me 5 stars. Give me 100 stars. Tell people this is great and that you really like it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your coworkers. If you're a manager, play these in your meetings. I don't care. Just do whatever you can. But if nothing else, I want you to do a couple things for me. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and whether you have a significant other or not, find somebody and tell them you love them. If you do have a significant other, make sure you tell them dozens of times tomorrow that you love them, and kiss them. Give them really big, juicy kisses, and hug your kids and tell them you love them. And tell all your friends that you love them. It's Valentine's Day, the day of love. Have fun with it. And the other thing that I want you to do is I want you to make it a great week. I want you to I want you to slow down on your road to the sale. I don't want you to worry about the steps. Instead, I want you to worry about the stops. I want you to make these presentations, ask for these sales. I want you to get these sales, get the commission, and live the life that you deserve. Hey, my name's Jeff Cowan, coming to you from thejeffcowan.com with my podcast, Success in Professional Sales and Success in Life in General. Thank you for listening this week. I'll be back next week with another great message. Take care, and happy Valentine's Day.